With so many different platforms,
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter,
and their purposes evolving daily, navigating social media can be, well, complicated. Welcome to the Social Media Sucks podcast from Cubco.
Social media really sucks.
Where we unpack the latest trends and help remove the suck from social media.
Hi, welcome back to the Social Media Sucks podcast by Cubco. And as usual, with me, my tag team, Andy and Chris.
What's up, guys?
And
Hey, guys.
today we're gonna uncover the rising trend, the new app Clubhouse. Maybe it's not new anymore. Actually, it's
No, it's still
it's 3
considered
months ago.
new.
It's not new anymore.
It's still no. Is it old school now? It's already
it's
past
outdated.
its prime.
I mean, it made it to the mainstream news, so I think we are.
Did it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Who did a piece on it?
I think everyone once Elon Musk jumped on.
Yeah, that was a
Basically,
watershed
yeah.
moment.
It's crazy that he's like the most influential human at the moment.
At the moment,
Yeah,
I think so.
Like probably he has like more power through social and
Someone had to step up. Now that Steve Jobs, died,
Yeah.
and Bezos is out.
that's also crazy that Bezos stepped down.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about that, but
We can uncover that in another episode. But for this one, let's talk about the app Clubhouse.
Well, the
Because,
dedicated
I guess
episode
our
of
audience
Bezos.
have been dying to know what it's about and whether marketers can utilize and leverage it. Maybe.
Yeah, Andy, tell us.
So let's
Tell us,
uncover
Andy.
that, Andy. No, guys, tell us a little bit more about Clubhouse because we're all onboarded on this new platform, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys been tapping around a little bit, discovering?
I've been playing around with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I must say I'm a bit of a lurker. I haven't done an actual
Yeah, me
one
neither.
where I've put my voice out there, but I have been listening and sort of checking out the application and checking out how it works and following people that are much more into it than I am and trying to get some tips on how to do it and just basically. I think like all social platforms, I am not a first mover at all. I'm very much a dip my toe in, see what's going on, look at what other people are doing, and then just copy them.
okay.
That's what I do, guys.
I mean-
so look out. If I'm lurking on your content, I'm gonna steal all your ideas.
My only thing with Clubhouse and like the people who create these rooms there actually and like who actually go on and are not just lurkers or listeners is like, where do they get the time to do all this stuff? I'm like,
But
what?
isn't that the thing about social media? You always like, where does people find the time?
Yeah, you gotta be rich and famous.
I don't know because like I think my input. Yeah. Okay. So,
But maybe
what
we
is-
should tell
what-
people what this actually
Yeah.
is.
Clubhouse.
Those of you that don't know at home, what is Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is audio only based simple app where people can create rooms, houses, where they can allow people to join in for listening to their conversations. It can be like a phone call. It can be just a tea party conversation.
Yeah.
It can be a more set up, let's talk about a certain topic. Like it just gives the audience this kind of drop in, drop out, audio
Yeah.
only. It's but it's live, so it's you can't
Right.
pre-record anything. It's just very now and now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good that's a good way of putting it. It's just very much like drop in, drop out, listen to, kind of be a fly on the wall. You can listen to a conversation between, 2 people or 20 people.
Yeah.
Like it really is a large thing. And I think it's a bit of a weird, it's a little like Blab. I mean, anybody who remembers Blab, do you guys remember Blab? No. Okay. So this is interesting. So Blab, Blab, those of you who hardcore Blab fans, let us know in the comments because it wasn't mainstream, but basically what it was is that it was like Zoom calls that you could drop in. So it was like you would have a sort of a show that was live streamed and people could drop in and say, hey, I want to live stream with you now. And then you could add people. I think the max was 4 at a time. That you could like have a sort of a Zoom call with, and then people could watch and comment and write questions and stuff like that. And then you could, invite people out. You could kick someone out and be like, okay, now it's this person's turn. And then they would come on camera and talk.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was quite kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it died. It didn't succeed.
Yeah, because
And
it was kind of interesting and not interesting enough.
Well, there was actually the big watershed moment was actually when Tony Robbins was on. So when we talk about like, okay, Elon Musk is on a totally different plane than Tony Robbins, but that was also, it took about took way longer. I think it was about a year, maybe 6 months into it, where then somebody, at least famous, came on the platform and did something. Whereas Clubhouse did it in less than 2 or 3 months.
They had a completely different approach, right? Like this is an invite-only app where most
that's true.
influential people and celebrities, whatever, got onboarded first, actually. So that's maybe what's driving all this traffic.
Yeah, I definitely think the exclusivity of it has been interesting to follow also on LinkedIn. People will be like, hey, man, you got any invites? I really need an invite to Clubhouse. I had to go beg for it. I didn't get anything.
Really?
Yeah, I had not beg, but I had to ask a few people like, hey, can I get an invite?
Oh, man, I feel so lucky. I just got one from you.
I know. I gave one to you, and then I gave one to actually a couple clients, and I gave one to, I think, also Hara on the team, or no, it was Barbara, your boss. so yeah, I got a couple actually left.
So
I'm saving.
It will be the Christmas bonuses, like Clubhouse invites.
You were
You are
good this year.
invited.
You get an invite.
You got it. No, but I think what's interesting is actually I talked to one of my friend and
One of your friends.
no, one of my friends. Sorry, one of my friends' girlfriend.
It's okay,
actually.
you only have one. It's fine.
But she's also my
fine.
friend, so that's why I was like, okay,
But you have
never
all
mind.
You have
Yeah.
all these great colleagues. We love you. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
you don't need friends, Andy.
yeah, you don't
But I was talking to one of my friends, and she was working on the Copenhagen Fashion Week already last year. And actually, when that happened, Clubhouse was already available, and they got invited to it.
Ah, okay. So it's been on the
So-
store for a while. Okay, I didn't know that.
We just didn't know about it because it was like
Exclusive.
exclusiver than just exclusive.
More exclusive than
Yeah.
exclusive.
It was
Yeah.
pre-exclusive, and now it's just exclusive.
And then it was like a lot of designers and like fashion people on the platform, but it was just not populated enough. So that's when they like started.
I
to
didn't
like,
know this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is new news.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Clubhouse was actually alive and up for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And now this is like the time when the wider audience got access to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these tools are also popping up. There's another one that's on the market that's a competitor that actually animates like sort of like memojis.
Oh yeah.
What's that called? It starts with an S, I think. I'm so sorry. It's but I've seen some people on that as well, which Stereo. Isn't it Stereo?
Stereo?
I'm pretty sure it's Stereo. But it's basically a similar thing where you have like these chat rooms with audio and people are on it. I'm pretty sure it's Stereo. Don't quote me though.
Yeah, Stereo. Yeah.
Stereo. Look at
Discover
that.
Live.
Okay.
So it's a
Podcast.
little like that. Like it's sort of like you're doing a live podcast, which is
That's
essentially
cool.
what Clubhouse kind of is.
Yeah.
It's a live podcast. And then people can jump in. But
Yeah.
I think what is really cool about Clubhouse and what makes it a bit more than just being like a live podcast is actually this like chat room aspect to it. I don't know, but like once when I torn like a ligament in my ankle, I was like, okay, I'm out for like basically 4 weeks. I can't walk. I was laying in bed. I was like 16 years old. I
Right.
had nothing to do. I couldn't go to school, nothing. So I was just basically hanging out and
chat rooms?
Yeah, in chat rooms because that was like my way of like finding entertainment.
yeah.
And friends.
And friends, yeah, too. Because all of my other friends were in school, so I was like, okay, what am I doing now?
No, for Andy, it's and friend.
True. Just one friend. That's fine. It's okay.
Sorry, and
No worries. And then I think that's where, to me, it's very similar to like the experience that I got when I was like just stepping in on conversations that were happening in like,
yeah.
chat rooms.
But it doesn't feel as, to me at least, being a lurker on the platform, it doesn't feel like as easy to jump into a conversation.
Because you need to be invited to.
Yeah, and you need to like raise a hand and stuff. Like I think
Yeah.
and I think there's a barrier to entry that way. If you're not in the club, you're not in Clubhouse really. You're
Yeah.
just a lurker. And I think that's one aspect that I think it will hold some people back from actually content creating. They'll just be like, no, I don't want to raise my hand. At least that's my experience. Is
Yeah.
and I would feel like I'm being rude, like intruding on someone's conversation in the first place.
But did you ever feel like I would like to like raise my hand and speak to this?
Yeah.
And you
yeah.
didn't?
And I didn't know. I think because I think it is rude. It's like,
Well, also depending
it's like
on how many
who are
participants,
you?
right?
Like, why
But that's
would you,
why the feature was made, and that's why they are like doing
Yeah,
this
I know, but
conversation
there's-
not in private, but on.
Yeah, but that's the barrier to entry. I think a lot of people, like even a guy like me, that's on camera a lot and speaks a lot, I still had this like
Anxiety about it.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like it's a little bit rude in my book to be like, oh, by the way, I've got something I got something to say about this, and you should listen to me.
But maybe
I'm
also
used to
because it's new.
Yeah.
Maybe when it gets more established and it's more, I guess it's more about the culture, right? Being established.
Maybe
and
it's
built.
fear of rejection as well. Like
Like, what
Because-
if I'm like raising my hand and they don't pick me?
yeah, and also like what if the moment passes and the like
Yeah.
you know you wanted to talk about something and it's like it's
And
gone.
like,
So Chris
10
here raises his hand.
minutes
It's like, no, I'm good. I mean, you guys covered it. So
Going out.
sorry, I just step out now. Nothing relevant to say. So I think that's some of the barriers, at least for me. I think I'll remain a lurker. I actually don't think. I think the only way that I will do something is, of course, if others ask me to be on their show, if you want to call it that, or in their clubhouse, and then of course I will say yes, depending on how cool they are. If
But
they're
you
not
are
cool.
Andy's friend, so.
But then
guess
I
you
think what
guys
we
could-
should try is actually to do a Cubco clubhouse, and we'll take a topic similar to how we do the social.
I was
media
thinking
sites,
about that too.
and just say let's get like 10 people from the company just to do a clubhouse, and we'll talk about
Whatever.
something like what it agency life or like.
I mean, this podcast could essentially also be in Clubhouse, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we could
want to utilize. The
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have to sit here with Artie. Like Artie can basically be our moderator on the clubhouse, and then we just like us three talk about stuff.
yeah.
We could do it that way.
Actually, the moderator role is something interesting that appeared to me on Clubhouse. That usually there is like a moderator, like a host. Who is sort of like, we
You
can
have to
talk
have
about
somebody
this.
that lets
Yeah.
you in or not lets you in. Like there has to be a
Yeah.
moderator, and that's also a bit of a barrier to entry, unless you want the host to moderate, which happens, which you can do. But I think that's also been a way to grow the community. So you actually have people in the community that are good at moderating, and it's actually, if you want to launch a successful clubhouse, there's actually paid services. So you can get a very, you could listen.
What?
This is how deep I've been going into it. So there's actually like professional moderators that you can pay, and then they bring some clout because they have some followers and they have some
okay.
people. So they actually it's a good way to launch your clubhouse these days is actually go out and find a moderator that's done this, that's already got a following, and get them to moderate it. Because they're going to bring their followers when you're doing something. Now you got to find a moderator that's in the niche that you want to be in, but it's a cool aspect to it that I think is
My
how
mind is blown.
your mind is blown, isn't it? So this is what's happening, and I think what you'll do is you'll find these influencers and you'll pay them and say like, okay, we're like shoes. You'll have a moderator that is like really well known in the shoe industry and has grown a following in Clubhouse. Be like, hey man, yeah, it's $1,000 if you want me to moderate your Clubhouse. Great, $1,000. They bring their followers, they moderate it. You get a nice conversation. It's like having a host.
It is sponsored.
Yeah, it's sponsored,
basically
right?
a sponsored
So I
talk.
think that's like that's what's happening here. And I think it's really cool. And I think
Wow.
it's how you would do it now. If we were going to launch a successful one, we would already go out and find out, okay, who in the social media space who has a large following on Clubhouse should be our moderator for this episode.
Gary Vee.
Well, maybe. You don't want him moderating anything. He'll just talk about himself the entire time. It'd be like the entire
It's
time.
really interesting what
the
you're
entire
saying, Chris,
time
but
he'd
you
be
know,
like, the
it's all
entire
about-
time he'd be like, I could have bought in at Uber at like 0. I could have been one of the first in Uber. I could have made $400 million. That's all he'll talk about.
I mean, I understand that like he feels bad about it. So
no, Gary, if you're watching, which I'm sure you do, because he consumes everybody's content, right? We'll have you as a moderator.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's a good idea to do it like that.
Yeah.
What I was actually thinking about is like, typically these conversations have to be really valuable and structured. And that's why you also need like a good host.
Yeah.
Does
Because,
it though?
yeah, because I started to like eardrop on conversations that seemed really interesting and valuable.
The
to
ones
listen
that are
to.
messy suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, like I started listening to a conversation that was like one of the speakers was like basically on his way home, and then the other one was at home and trying to like do a proper job in terms of like hosting this whole thing. So it's like two like pretty senior strategists So I just found out that they can like talk about strategy and like their strategy experiences on Clubhouse at like this and this time. And then I was like, okay, that sounds super interesting. And it was like 4 people in the room. It was 2 of the speakers and then another strategist
then you and another guy.
me.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
You had
okay.
an opportunity to raise your hand.
Yeah, but I gave it 5 minutes and I was like 5 minutes and I was like, what happened to plural? I don't know.
I gave it 5 minutes, and I have friend. I have friend and 1 minute. 10 minutes. Sorry, not 1 minute. 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes and 1 friend. What am I saying 1 for? I'm screwing this whole thing up.
Okay.
You should be like, I got 10 minutes and friend.
Yeah, but I gave it 10 minutes to like really figure out what is going on. And they were like talking about like, basically for one minute they were talking about something that was actually valuable. And for the rest they were just like, yeah man, so when it comes to strategy it's like cracking an egg. And like, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Where did this conversation
It's very
go?
high level. Why
Yeah,
didn't you
I mean,
get it?
It's too high level, really.
Yeah, it was too sophisticated for
Okay.
me. So
All
I
right.
decided
Too
to
high
leave quietly.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
I love that you can leave quietly. Like,
But-
is there a leave? Is there a leave loudly? I want that option. I want that button.
Unmute yourself and like, I'm leaving.
Exactly. Like really, like mid conversation, leave loudly. It's just like
Just raise your hand.
it's like a
to say,
slamming.
"I'm
It's like a
leaving."
creaking, slamming door.
That is a feature coming on soon. Okay.
That would be actually interesting.
But
to
why
like-
do you guys think we should be this app should be on our radar, like for marketeers? Like, should it be anything
Well,
we should watch out for, or?
I think it's like anything. The starting point is always marketers talking to marketers.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of happening right now on Clubhouse. Is a lot of people like us that are talking about,
first movers talking about first movers?
yeah,
stuff.
basically like,
Yeah.
and that's going to transform if the app can get traction on a bigger scale, which it is. Like you can see much more conversations like fashion or art or music, or there's actually, it's a good place for comedy is also coming up quite big in it, because it's like you can have a kind of a comedy show, kind of like everyone takes the stage and does
Yeah.
5 minutes of their material, which is quite interesting,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Because you
interesting.
can't go to comedy clubs right now. So this is like that sort of live comedy,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool, right? So I think you're going to see aspects of live, like live music, live comedy, live art, live poetry, like
But do you think all of it is going to be like still free? Because what I was thinking about is like, for example, for talks like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or Ashton Kutcher, like these were like free talks I listened to and they were like really valuable and interesting actually. And I was like,
but
probably
it's
like
gonna go paid.
Probably if there would be like a $5
yeah.
drop in, I would have like maybe paid it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they missed an opportunity there. I
Yeah.
think they should have said Elon Musk was $5 a head, and they would have made, millions of dollars. I don't actually. I think they couldn't even get as many people as they could.
I think it's 500
No.
limits.
It's
Yeah.
5,000 limit,
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think
Yeah.
it was 500 actually, the limit.
For now it's 5. I heard this morning it was 5,000, but
Okay, maybe
maybe
they raised the bar, but like I heard that
Yeah.
like the room was crashing, and then there were like basically 3 other rooms
Yeah.
trying to fit in all the people.
But how do? Yeah. So I think they have to solve that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they're fucked. They
Also-
literally will be fucked, because they're
Yeah.
going to be too many massive people coming on the platform that are just going to draw in a million people, and it's like, it has to happen that way.
But this is interesting though, because it's like contrasting features, because Clubhouse is a invite only platform, right? But with every expansion, you kind of get this content dilution.
Yeah.
If everybody can just, like you say, everybody can just attend, and everybody can just create content, it will get like so saturated, so you can't
That's
really
like
know.
every social
but
platform.
it is
Yeah.
already very
Yeah.
saturated. Like there are groups where like people are basically just talking about like dating, and it's like a big contrast from like going to listen to Mark Zuckerberg talking about like his future plans or what's going on in the world now, and then like you basically go one room other,
Yeah.
and then it's like
Yeah.
a bunch of people talking about their random like dating experiences and like talking about why they're lonely and why they don't want to like go out and like try Tinder again. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, okay. But maybe that will solve it if we get a paid element, like buy a ticket or buy a ticket in or for a
Plus like
conversation or something.
sort of structure, because I feel like the content is like also it's not curated, but I think it could be like better structured. Like the explore feature is so random.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and I think they're going to have a difficulty trying to figure out their algorithm in a sense of like, what do you get exposed to, and what can you discover? Because obviously, and there's no, it's a very hard sort of platform, I think, to discover new stuff. Like you really have to search for it in some ways, and you have to be available when that's on. So even if you do discover something, like I've discovered lots of stuff that I want to listen to, but it's like an hour away or it's 2 hours away because it's live. So I'm just like, will I really have time then? No, I won't.
Yeah.
So you're basically screwed, right? So there needs to be also an on-demand version, which I think will come eventually as well. It's like if you don't catch the live version, you're going to catch the on-demand version, and that you can discover stuff that was previously recorded and all that kind of stuff. Don't you think?
Yeah, but then would they just like start building like enormous audio library?
Isn't it just podcast?
But that's what you have. Like, I think that if you're going to expand the app and go into mainstream, you're going to have an on-demand version. Otherwise, you have this sort of thing where people, like you said, where do people find the time?
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. It's like the only time that I would listen to Clubhouse is probably between the hours of 10 p.m. at midnight. Right?
Actually,
like,
that's I think probably where they have like a peak of users.
Probably, and that's that only period. Like, then I have to be very lucky, or there's going to be also too many shows that I want to catch that I'm like, fuck. It's like Flow TV. We all know what happens to Flow TV.
Yeah,
it's gone basically. We want stuff on demand, so they're kind of going anti, what we see in the culture and what we see in the world and technology wise, which is also attractive, but only attractive to a certain group. If they want to go mainstream and get much, much more people on board, they're going to have to do on demand.
Yeah.
And then you have to search it and all that kind of stuff.
Honestly, to me, it's really interesting to see that, like, however, to me, the app already seems very interesting and valuable, and it seems like something that kind of draws my attention because, like, there are some, like, authority figures using it already to, like, share their thoughts and, like, you can basically like get like a super experience of like environmental exposure to like, really established personalities, and like you can basically just listen to them and like through osmosis pick up some knowledge maybe.
Yeah.
But I think what I can see also, like, for example, on other people, also my friends, they're like completely not interested in it.
No.
Like, because there is no like apparent value to the average person in it.
No.
I think what'll be interesting is actually going back to the actual original question about brands. I think like if brands can, the way brands will tap into it is literally having a live show about whatever product or whatever thing they're doing, or some information. So for example, Nike doing, interviews with LeBron, with whoever they have in their roster, and that'll be the way it goes. I think it's
So
like
brand awareness building.
I think it would be like, it's like a soft approach to podcasting in some way, and having them call in from wherever, location they are, and like, let's get, or like post-game interviews or that kind of stuff on the sports world will be very cool there. And I think they probably already have it. I mean, I haven't seen everything in the app. And then I think on the corporate side, I think you'll see that it'll be a nice way for certain brands to do podcasting without having to do the production. Because literally that you could just have, for example, this, if we working with, say we're working with let's say we're working with a pharmaceutical brand that wants to talk about an important topic in the industry, right? Like this cancer drug or this, whatever this is. They can simply do that with their R&D people or scientists all over the world, create a room and talk about these latest things, and then have people listening in.
Yeah.
And you can basically combine people from all over the world to talk about some issue. So in a world also where we don't have virtual events, don't have live events, we have virtual events, this can also be a panel discussion on certain things as well. Yeah. So I think you can see that. And I think the other thing too is I hope that they allow do they have private rooms where you have to apply to get in?
I haven't seen it.
So that's the other aspect where I think brands could really take advantage is if you have, say, for example, for employees that are all over the world.
Yeah.
You want to have like your, annual meeting or your strategy meeting or whatever, and you don't want to necessarily do it in Zoom or I think that makes no sense, but
let's
say it's an audio,
Yeah.
then you can do it there.
Yeah.
But I think what's really interesting about like FaceTime and Zoom and like video chat in general is like recently people, especially because we're always in this like home office mode, we just don't really like showing ourselves anymore. Like it's in some cases it's sort of like a necessary like pain of some sort, but we are not really passionate about showing ourselves anymore.
Yeah.
And I think like Clubhouse is eliminating that like video aspect because like the norm is that like it's only you and your voice and what you have to say. And I think that's maybe somewhat interesting to think about. But on the other side, like to me, like Clubhouse is like just like online radio, and everybody can like sort of have like a channel.
Yeah.
Because radio is also like audio only. You basically listen to it in like the almost exact micro moments as you would listen to Clubhouse. And then it's also like not like you don't have an on-demand version of it usually.
Right. I think it'd be funny is actually if you were an impressionist to like basically falsely impersonate people.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm going to get Arnold Schwarzenegger's Clubhouse.
Got to the chopper, guys. I'm on Clubhouse.
No. And like get like, I think Emil's on our team could be Stephen Hawking's.
Yeah, but
he does
that
that.
would be inappropriate.
You shouldn't do dead people.
No, I don't think so.
I think that's what Clubhouse was built for. Dead people.
Dead people walking.
I hear dead people. I don't see dead people. I hear dead people. That'll be the Clubhouse. I hear dead people. It'll just be impressions of dead people.
Have you guys put any thought into how we can maybe leverage this for the clients we work with?
No, absolutely not.
I did some. I
High level.
Yeah, high level.
High level.
Yeah.
But I think, for example, like for FMCG brands, it could be cool to talk to influencers. And there are a lot of influencers who are maybe not on YouTube. And I think if they're not on YouTube, then of course they're missing out on something that's really interesting about long form video, and that's context building. And what I've seen lately also happening in the influencer world is like influencers who move to podcasting are extremely successful now because they have the podcast environment to build context, wider context, to deepen their context and the understanding of others towards their own personality, because there is a chance for it. And
I think longer form, you can explain stuff, you can get deeper.
Yeah, exactly. As we do now.
Yeah.
And then I think that could be interesting to invite on influencers and talk with them about like certain things, like, so how is your skincare routine? Or when you pick something, or like when you are thinking about establishing like a new look or something, like what do you consider? How are you like? And then like, so how is a day in your day looks like? And they don't actually have to like shoot a YouTube video. It's super low budget.
Yeah.
And they can still do it, and they can just like, they have like their existing social media, so they can just like promote those, create these Clubhouse rooms, and then the followers who are already on Clubhouse could just join the conversation, and then like they can have questions. So there can be a Q&A. It can be also about the brand, but it can be also like, non-branded, so more about influencer. And then like basically do this as we would do, for example, with like hiring like a host. They can do it with influencers to drive awareness and drive traffic to their room. And then, of course, there has to be like sort of like a strategic goal behind it. So like, what happens after the Clubhouse discussion? Like, are you leading them to a video that just dropped with the influencer? Are you leading them to a new collection that just dropped it? Or are you leading them to like a certain product, etc.? I think that could be like an interesting way of like...
Has any single brand, I think it'd be interesting to see if any single brand has done, like Clubhouse. A major brand has done a Clubhouse thing. It's got to be there. I'd be interested to know. We should find out. Yeah. But I mean, I've only been thinking about it in terms of podcasts, like in that sort of sense, because there are a lot of brands want to do podcasting. And we obviously believe in going all out. Like we do here because you have more opportunities to do long form video, social content, cut ups and stuff like that. But sometimes brands are just like, hey man, we just want a podcast. Like give us just something simple. And I think that can lower the barrier of entry and just say, listen, we'll do it with this. It'll be on a phone. You can talk to this person. We'll go live at this time. And then let's just get going with it. But I think that they would be judging, like all live stream stuff. Clients always judge how many active viewers, how many this, and that takes a social, campaign leading up to drive actually people to a live show. A lot of people don't realize like what actually it takes to get people to a live show. It's difficult. It's a lot of like, you got to pick the right time zone where you think your users are. You got to make sure that everyone's aligned on what time and when. You got to put out your content to support that. Like, and if, in a sense also, if you don't have a sign up process or you actually don't know if you're going live with like a decent audience at all. So it's really, I think brands will be very trepidatious, very cautious about this because they just don't know if they're wasting their time or not.
But that's the thing with most new platforms, right?
Yeah, that's the thing
that
with
with
most.
TikTok also.
Yeah, but it's one of the inherent problems with live streaming or live in general, is that you just don't know.
Yeah, there is that fear of rejection.
Yeah, like at least with webinars, we do webinars here. At least we know how many people signed up, and roughly, that'll be 80% of them show up or 70 or
But
whatever.
you can still do like a sign up page for. Actually, I think there is a sign up page for.
Is there a sign
Clubhouse
up
as
in
well.
Clubhouse?
Yeah, where you can set up a reminder, and I haven't been on the other side, so I don't know the analytic parts.
You can set up a reminder. So, for example, I've got these, but I don't know if.
But can you see how
but I
many
can
people
add to
set
calendar.
up a reminder? Do you think?
No, you can't.
Probably in the future you will be able to see that, like, so you can get like an estimate of like how many people would join.
And
I also
maybe
think-
for community management, there could also be potential there in Clubhouse. I mean, that also, of course, demands people being on the platform, but it's an easy way to do a Q&A, right? Instead of
I
having
think that's
to...
extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with like the recent.
Yeah, because you can't really
Downsides.
filter. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't really filter out. But still, though, I mean, it's a Q&A. It's a good way to go, I guess.
Yeah.
If you wanna.
I think in general, Clubhouse has like a long way to go before we will see like
definitely.
brands really pop up there.
Yeah. You have to really be a first mover if you want to tap into this
Yeah.
right away
Yeah.
in marketing.
But I think in general, it could be interesting to do something human there for all sorts of brands. But are you using the app actually?
I'm not using the app yet. I go on there and scroll for a bit, and
But you
then,
don't find anything that you feel like interesting?
No, I haven't. To be honest, I didn't spend so much time on the platform yet. It's more about checking it out, and then I dropped in on a talk, and then, as you said, the timing was just not right. I jumped in in the middle of it, so I didn't get the context before, and then it really takes me then a lot of time to onboard it, I guess. And then if it doesn't capture my attention in the
Right
first
away.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
then
Social engagement practices.
in the few minutes that I'm there for, then I'm just out again, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I think what we should do is like start a club. We'll start a social media sucks club. And then what we could do is like pre or post show, have a sort of a Q&A where we'd like, hey, on this episode, we talked about this. And this is what we talked about. Do you guys have anything that you want to add to it? And we can invite people in the room.
I would take it to like maybe a next level, and then like I would have like a small like exclusive talk before the podcast happens. That is a bit more human, like maybe still structured or maybe still like insightful and valuable, but like a little bit like
Big
less
Forster.
less
To be insightful.
on screen. And then where we can basically just like hang out and talk to people, and I think that would be like an excellent opportunity to like also engage with people.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something we'll test out.
Yeah, and I think it would be really cool to like maybe promote it on LinkedIn to see who would like to join, and like the topic of the discussion could be of course related also to the podcast.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, thank you so much. And like, yeah, we can do the Q&A before the podcast. And then like we go on to produce the podcast.
Yeah, so I think it's probably an added element that people will add to stuff, to live events, to podcasts, to other things that they're doing. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any more questions. I think it was a great talk about uncovering this new app that we recently installed in our iPhones. So I can try to summarize the talk.
It was all over the place.
It was a little, sorry,
I mean, you
guys,
can
it
start
was-
with Andy's friend.
Yeah, Andy's friend and
And
the
then
minute.
Andy's minute.
Yeah, but basically we just try to uncover and discuss how we can use. It's an open discussion on how we can use this new app, Clubhouse, and this audio only, very now podcast mimicking app. But
Tomorrow we're not going to lurk anymore. Tomorrow we're going to go live.
we're gonna participate.
Okay, that's the plan. Should I start a room and just include you guys?
Yeah, yes, just us.
Let's do it on Friday so you have like some time to promote it.
But guys, listen to the whole episode, and then you can discover yourself what we talked about.
That was her summary. Her summary is like, just
out.
watch the episode.
Just scroll back, guys.
Just I
Just
mean,
listen.
why
We
do
know
you
you
need
got
a
the
time.
If you've watched this, why do you need a summary?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Maybe you wanna cut.
I
it.
like your summary,
Maybe
actually.
you want to cut it into the
No, but that's
Sorry,
intro.
no,
I
no.
mean,
Honestly,
That's
I
true.
think sometimes if something is really long or if I don't have enough time to dive into something, I
Exactly.
just like scroll right to
Yeah.
the summary part.
see.
So thank you so much for scrolling to the end here,
basically said
guys.
I'm not
It's
useful.
been a real pleasure. Thank you. And thanks for the questions. I think it was really valuable. See you guys on Clubhouse. If you're not already in Clubhouse, let me know. I might send you an invite. So
How many invites did you
That's
get?
a free giveaway.
I got like 30. No, I got
What?
like no,
I have one.
No, kidding.
Should we cut in a giveaway for?
No,
invites?
yeah, exactly. Like and comment and subscribe for your chance to be invited to Clubhouse. No, I don't have that. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you on all the social media, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Social Media Sucks.
Thank you guys for
See you
watching
guys.
and listening.
See you guys. Adios.
This has been the Social Media Sucks Podcast.